Hello, workshop community. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. Toolman Tim back here with you, and today is February. Oh, I got the date completely wrong tonight. So, February 17th, 2022. And this is episode 71 of the Workshop Podcast. And it's the 11th episode in our ongoing Thursday night series of Repairedness. And tonight we're going to talk about 20 preparedness skills that can help make you money and in turn make you financially independent and have your own schedule that you can pick and choose what you want to do. But we'll dive into that in just a minute. So, real quick, let's get a few announcements out of the way. We are growing a really cool, fairly large community already over on Telegram. So if you are a Telegram user, grab the Telegram link from the description in tonight's video and drop by the official workshop chat. It's a really, I love it. We're over there, got a whole bunch of like-minded people who are sharing their knowledge with one another, where we can throw ideas around, bounce around as a community, and who knows, maybe we'll start scheduling some kind of live chats as we're going along. But it's kind of exciting. I'm enjoying seeing the growth. So if you're a Telegram user, run by there. Number two, if you are interested in being a guest on my Sunday night live stream interview series run by toolmantim.co, that's the easiest way to get there. And then click on the link for the guest form, fill it out, and we'll do our best to get you on. Right now, I am booked up into April, so I'm rather excited about getting more and new and interesting guests on there. I always love having a conversation. I always seem to learn something from everyone else. So fill that form out, get going, get over there, and let me know. And all right, finally, number three. This week on PBN, the Prepper Broadcast Network. Hey, James Richter, how are you, sir? It was a stellar lineup of content. And if you're not following, man, why aren't you? Matter of fact, guys, had a great interview with a gentleman who had just moved back from California to Michigan as a new prepper, talking about all the experience that he was dealing with. Just, there's so much. Anyway, you got to check that out, number one. Sarah Hathaway had Doc Bones on there on the Changing Earth podcast. I believe that was Sunday evening. He actually shared, she got him to share his story, where he came from, how he got started, and of course, all his top quality medical advice. And then Ryan and Colin Buford on the Next Generation podcast. Man, I never miss those guys. They had yet another incredible, it's just a really cool episode. So Colin, Ryan's son, is talking about taking a road trip as a school project, and they're looking at doing it under the constraints of late 1980s, early 1990s technology. It was just a really cool thought experiment. It got the old creative juices flowing while I was out blowing snow. So if you get a chance, give that a listen. And if you're not following PBN, why aren't you? All right, so tonight, let's dive in. We're going to talk about making money through preparedness. We've been talking a whole lot about preparedness skills. And hey, Chris Dixon, how are you? And building up and being independent. But a portion of being independent, in my mind and in my life, has been my entrepreneurial ventures. So for those of you who maybe know or don't know, and you might wonder, how come this Tim Fuller gets up and talks about preparedness every week and blah, blah, blah? Well, I run a handyman business. I have for about 5 years full-time. It'll be 5 years in May of this year, and it has become the best thing I have ever done. I turned a lot of my home maintenance and preparedness skills around, turned them into money-making ventures, and it's allowed us to have quite a bit more independence in our decision-making, our financial spending, our schedule planning as a family. So zoom back, oh boy, I don't know, about 6 years ago now, when the oil patch died. Everybody said, don't worry, Tim, don't worry. 18 months and the price of oil will come back. It always does. Well, you know what? Here we are, 6 years later, and it's just barely starting to come back. So I decided, you know what? It's time. I've always had the itch to be my own boss. Always, always, always wanted to. And I said, you know what? I'm going to hang a shingle. I'm going to give this a try. Sorry about my voice tonight, guys. Kind of struggling with a bit of a cold again. But so anyway, I hung my shingle out, started looking for jobs. First two jobs were stuff that I had done around the house before or in the yard. And I was able to make some money with some of these hard practical skills that I've learned through home maintenance. So the first two, one was a computer shop. I've told that story before. They had decorative rock out front. They had been priced an incredibly exorbitant amount to replace that decorative rock. So I went in and I bid it. I can't even remember exactly what I bid it for, but me and my daughter went in, shoveled it all out by hand, filtered it, sifted it through a screen, put it all back in, and didn't need to replace any of the rock. We did that all in one day. It was just using back-breaking labor. We had a shovel, an old wheelbarrow that I'd scavenged from the landfill, and a sifter screen I made out of 1x6 rough boards and a piece of hardware cloth. As far as upfront investment, cost me $10 to make the sifter screen, which we could have done without. And then job number two, when I first got started, was demolition. And who the hell doesn't love demolition? And I'm not talking about the old WWF tag team either, although I like them too. James says, I always love to learn a new skill. I'm very handy, but never done learning. That, my friend, is the preparedness mindset right there. Hey, Ted, how are you? If you have a hunger for knowledge like that, it doesn't matter how young or how old you are, you're going to find success in life. And I don't know, I'm just like a little kid in a candy store when it comes to learning something new. I'm always looking for the latest and greatest, the newest skills that I can learn. And I love seeing other people who share that mindset, because that is the way to get out there and get shit done. So the second job I did with my handyman business was, like I said, demolition. And it was fun. Again, I literally had nothing but an old beater of a truck. A lady who has been one of my customers for just about 5 years. I love her to death. She's a friend. She had an old garage that needed to be tore down before she could have her new shed brought in. And we literally did it with hammers and a pry bar. We knocked all the walls out, left the 4 support posts up, put pieces of rope on either post, and we pulled the thing down, and the roof was sitting right on the ground. So we were able to get in there and tear it out. Again, that was a skill. I mean, I know demolition doesn't take much, but it was one of those things that in order to build confidence up, I had to have some previous experience with it. And it's true. James says, yes, sir. I always say, if you have tools and skills, you'll never go hungry. Well, man, I swear you're probably looking at my notes. I say it all the time, but that is absolutely a theme of tonight's episode. We're going to talk about exactly how to fill your belly and fill your coffers using the tools and the skills you already have. All right. So as far as if you guys need any motivation or encouragement, I'm telling you right now, there is a metric shit ton of guys and ladies out there in the workshop community that is doing the whole preparedness mindset as an entrepreneur. I got one guy who just put an ad on Nextdoor and started advertising sharpening knives. He does it every weekend, makes a pretty good living at it, or at least a pretty good side hustle. I got another guy who started doing minor repairs and ended up buying some rental properties and is now a landlord. We got another one who, if you watched the show last Sunday evening, he actually made, he's built a business around the niche of people's backyards that have too narrow of a gate. So the big companies can't get in there to mow the lawns. So he goes in with a push mower and he makes bank doing it. I got another guy who picks up old mowers, fixes them up, or just sells them as it is. Another guy who does dump runs and cleans windows, man. I'm telling you, the sky is the limit of what you can do with low skill or no skills. Try saying that a few times fast. And just getting out there and making a little bit of money. And who doesn't want to make a little extra money? And I've done the math 1,000 times, but I mean, if you can find a way to make yourself an extra $100 a week, and that is nothing. $100 a week, that's an extra $5,000, $5,200 actually in your pocket every single year. And if it's just between, you, the customer, and the fence post over there, that money goes right into your pocket. Don't have to worry about anything else. So take stock of the skills you have, take stock of the supplies you have, figure out what your interests are, and then say, okay, what do I know how to do? What do I have the ability to do? and then start offering that service or looking out for people who are looking for that service. I tell the other story. Right now, my biggest moneymaker in the wintertime, of course, is snow removal. And I started with a $3 snow shovel that I got at a yard sale. And the thing worked for the entire first winter. Yes, Ted says no skills to low skills to mo skills. Ain't that the truth? And the mo skills you have, the more money you'll have. And hopefully the less problems, right? But yeah, so whatever it takes, use what you have on hand and then turn that into filling up your pocketbook or filling up your bank account. I was going to say bank book, but who the hell has a bank book anymore? I'm going to struggle through this for you guys tonight. So I got lots of good information. So if you're thinking, man, you sound like an 80-year-old smoker, Tim, I apologize. So next thing you might say is, okay, I get it, but how the hell does this fit into prepping and preparedness? Well, I could say it doesn't, but it absolutely does. So down the road, I'm going to do a series, probably on Sunday evenings or Saturday mornings or whatever it happens to be, on what I call my 12 pillars of preparedness. And I can promise you this, it's not original. Everybody has their own list of what is important to them when prepping and being prepared. But I broke it down to kind of 12 individual words and concepts that are important to me and my family. So we got community. That, neighbors, friends, family, that kind of stuff. Financial, that goes without saying. Entrepreneurship, and that might be where I differ from some people. But to me, one of the essential pillars of prepping or preparedness is starting some sort of entrepreneurial venture. And it doesn't have to be full-time. It can be super part-time. Like I said, how hard would you have to work once a week to make $100 and get an extra $5,000 in your pocket? What could you do with an extra $5,000? I know I could do a lot with an extra $5,000. The 6 P's. Yes, Ted knows about the 6 P's as well. Energy. So we're talking gas, backup generators, that kind of stuff. Food. If you don't know what food is, probably on the wrong channel here. Water, security, absolutely security. That's important. Skills, that is what you know, how you know it, what you've learned. Plans, that's where do we go if the shit hits the fan? What do we do if we stay home? That kind of stuff. Health, that is personal health. Something that I'm working on, getting yourself in better shape, losing weight, making sure you can run, whatever the hell you need to do. First aid, that's a little bit separate. Maybe we could have combined them, but first aid should go without saying. Comms, once again, that is, should go without saying, but, communications, being able to get information in, send information out, that kind of stuff. And then my 12th one, it's a funny one, but I call it grit. Some people call it stubbornness, toughness of mind, a spiritual mindset, whatever you want to call it. But for me, it's grit or mental grit, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, there's a lot there. Chris says, don't sell your skills short either. Lots of people out there know how to do nothing. Lots of people are also lazy or simply can't do things. Amen to that, brother. That is, there's going to be a whole bunch of that talking about that tonight. But yes, one of the best parts of starting a business around one of these preparedness skills or a dozen of these preparedness skills is the simple fact that you can make a really good living off it. And remember, what's great about it is you can make what you decide you're worth, not what some boss in some office or ivory tower tells you that you're worth or thinks you're worth or undersells you simply because they can. And of course, Ted says prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Yep, there's the 6 P's for you guys. If anybody, I see we've got a couple of people over on Float as well. It's great. And we're live on PBN, Broadcast Network, and audio only tonight. So out of those 12, there's really 5 that entrepreneurship really touches on, or that starting a business with preparedness touches on. And the first one is entrepreneurship. I mean, you can literally start a business with any one of the skills we've talked about up to this point. We're in 11 episodes deep on this stuff. And if you need to go back and look through, great. I've got a whole playlist on my YouTube channel of growing your handyman business and growing businesses in general, the whole concept behind it. But starting a business, it gives you independence. It allows you to stack your services and make more money. So you can, if you've got 2 or 3 of these things you know how to do, all of a sudden you go to somebody's house and you're like, hey, I can wash your windows and I can clean your gutters. Oh, and those hedges over there, they need to be trimmed too. Or, well, would you like me to trim them? And most times they're going to say yes. And while you're there, hey, it's going to be a little cheaper than having to come back on another day. Carrie Brown last week was great talking about that on Sunday evening. Um, as far as starting something like this, mental toughness, grit, peace of mind, whatever you want to call it. When you're doing this kind of stuff, it builds your troubleshooting skills. It gives you peace of mind simply because you get some confidence because you've overcome all these problems before and allows you to go out and do it for customers yourself. Uh, and also, something else that it does is it gives you that peace of mind because it brings your stress level down. You're like, oh, okay, you know what? This has been something that I have dealt with before. I've made it through, or I've had similar problems like this before. I've been able to figure it out. I'll figure this out too. You know, the old this too shall pass. Well, that's the whole idea behind this. Starting something like this, again, financial. Who doesn't want to be a little more financially free? It allows you to make money in your downtime. So, hey, you've got evenings, weekends off. Say you decide I'm going to take one evening a week and one Saturday a month, and I am going to commit it to building some sort of entrepreneurial venture, whether it's lawn mowing, window cleaning, gutter cleaning, whatever it happens to be, garbage hauling. We're going to talk about a bunch of them today. I got 20 of them on the list. And like I said, it allows you to make the money that you are worth. No more waiting an entire 12 months for a pardon the French, but a goddamn annual review with your boss who says, well, I was going to give you a 15-cent an hour raise, but times are tough and I had to buy a second yacht. So maybe next year, you know? Uh, and one of the other things is it extends your ability to multiply things, to invest. So, okay, maybe you are up against it and everything you make in your day job goes to pay bills. But that extra $5,000 a year or $10,000 a year you're making in your side hustle, you can turn around, take that money, maybe invest it in another business or invest it in an income property or invest it in stocks or bonds or, well, stocks mainly, and start getting some multiplication in your investments. And then all of a sudden, oh man, that $5,000 is growing and growing and growing. And hey, maybe it could knock 5 years off your retirement plan. I don't know. And how about building your skills? What is great about doing a preparedness business is it allows you to build your skills. It allows you to build skills you maybe haven't built completely yet. And gosh darn it, get paid to do it. How friggin' awesome is that? I love that idea. But it also, something else that a lot of people don't realize is it also increases your efficiency in those skills, which I love. Because what ends up happening is the more you do it for other people, the faster, the more efficient, and the better you're going to get at all of these different repair tasks or things around the home as well. So you're not just getting paid for it, but you're also increasing your efficiency, which allows you to get more done in the same amount of time. And then sometimes it even gets you exposed to skills that you haven't had a chance to develop yet. So say that you got a broken sewer line at a house that you have to go and fix. You've never had that problem at your home, but you've got the skills and the mindset and the concept to understand it. So you go and do it for a customer. And then guess what? 6 months, a year, 10 years down the road, all of a sudden you got a broken sewer line at home. You're able to go in there and you're like, oh yeah, shit, I did that for Bill Jones over there 6 months, a year ago. I know how to fix that. No big deal. And then you can use your preparedness skills to build community too. And this is a great one. And this is something I'd never really thought until I talked to Kerry last week. He's a fellow handyman. It was a lot of fun. We talked about, he talked about how building community through your customers. So he said, there's times in the year when things get a little slow, and I call some of my best customers up, and he said, it's almost never happened where I couldn't find work. My customers are part of my community. They're people I can call on when they need something, they call me. And when I'm looking for work, I can call them. And then something else that's really neat is you can kind of extend your contacts. The old Rolodex thing. Of course, nowadays it's in our phones or whatever. I don't think I ever had Rolodex. Where the hell did I even pull that out of my head? But you can make contacts in all the other trades. So when you got to bring somebody in as a plumber or an electrician or a pipe fitter, a gas guy, all of those, you start making connections and you're like, now I know who I can call at 3 o'clock in the morning when, my boiler goes out, or I blow a pulley on my blower fan in my furnace, that kind of stuff. So that is building community. And I love that idea. And we always, we talk about how important it is to look after our bug in location, our home. And we want to know everything there is to know about it. We want to get better at those skills in repairing it, fixing it. But by turning around and offering those skills to other people, we're bettering ourselves, and we're getting a chance to kind of fill our pockets with some money. And who the hell doesn't want to do that? So, all right, where do we start? What do we do? We're going to take a look at our skills and our interests. That's the big one. Do you get the ability to keep things running with spit and chewing gum? The old MacGyver idea. You good at that? How about preventative maintenance? Is that something you love to do? Because if you're good at preventative maintenance, you can offer that kind of stuff where you go in and, I don't know, change out belts for people on furnaces, that kind of stuff. Like Ted said, also, home is the best place to practice. I've done that, almost always when I go out to learn a completely brand new skill that I've never done anywhere else. I practice at home first. Even when it was as simple as going out and cleaning windows for a customer. I spent a couple hours cleaning my big picture window at home until I was, I don't know, mediocrely satisfied with my results, to the point where I'm like, you know what? I can go do this. I'm obviously not going to charge a ton of money for it the first few times, but as I get better, my prices were able to go up to where the market held it, and it was helpful. Do you enjoy plumbing? Do you like going in and fixing leaks, or cutting out pieces, or refitting pipe? How about this one? We're going to talk about this a little down the road, but how about confined spaces? Because like Chris said, there's a lot of people who are either lazy, not comfortable doing something, or simply can't do them. So, when I first got started, I've told this story a bunch of times, but there's no one else in this town that would crawl under mobile homes. And I did that a lot. I'd get my chubby old ass in under there, and I'd shimmy in, and I'd, eat dust and cobwebs and spiders. And I would go in there and insulate pipes or reinstall heat trace tape, that kind of stuff. But there was no one else doing it. And there's a lot of homeowners that were too infirmed or just didn't have the interest in doing it. So they'd be willing to call me up and pay me, what it was worth to them and what it was worth to me. So there's always these little niches that can make you a ton of money. And like I said, you don't have to be a full-fledged handyman. This can very easily just be one or two little side hustles that you do, that you love, that you excel at. And who knows, maybe you'll end up being like, hey, I like this, and I can take this, I can walk into the boss on Monday morning when I got 3 months worth of income saved up, and a phone full of customers, and I can tell this boss, hey, take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. Simply because, you turned your doer of odd jobs into a full-time thriving enterprise, and it's working for you. So just something to look at. I just want to kind of inspire you, get you up, and get thinking about what is absolutely possible in your life. Because to be honest, for a lot of years, I didn't see it in my life either. I was as busy as a two-peckered owl, but I was getting nothing done. And I'm not even 100% sure what all ended up switching, where the mindset come in, but I just finally made up my mind that, God damn it, I'm going to make money at this, and I am going to get it done. Ted says, my old getting larger butt isn't going to be able to spend much time under cabinets. Yeah, I don't enjoy that. Trying to get in underneath and changing out like kitchen fixtures and stuff like that under those sinks. And then if you got a damn garburator in there too, I couldn't do that at the best of the times. All right, so let's knock through. I made a list of 20. I started with 10, then it was 12, then it was 15, and I ended up with 20 repairedness skills that can make you money. And I can almost guarantee you that I could do a list of 20 more tomorrow. So we may do a follow-up to this a few months down the road, because if there's nothing I have a shortage of, it is definitely good ideas for businesses and skills to make money at, because it gets down to the point where you're like, you know what? I just got to pick one and do it. But so this list isn't about telling you what to do. It's more about inspiring you, getting your creative juices flowing. And whenever I, a lot of times when I watch a YouTuber, listen to a podcast, and they'll have 20 secrets to being a successful content creator. You know what? And I hear that and I might know all 20 of them already. Or maybe I know 19 and the 20th one is the one that jumps out and bites me. But more times than not, I put 2 or 3 of those things together in a list and then I make a connection to my life and I'm like, there we are. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what this list is about. It's just to kind of get you excited about the opportunities out there, the money-making entrepreneurial ventures. And yeah, James says, I love that work, $100 an hour. I'll stand on my head. Yes, sir, you are correct. Yes, if the price is right, there's a lot I'll do. I'll tell you that. Okay, so number 1, gutter cleaning, or as I call it up here, eaves troughs. I'm not even sure. I'm guessing that's some sort of British term, but on the East Coast, we call coaches Chesterfields and gutters eaves troughs. So you can laugh at me all you want. But a couple of questions. You have a ladder, you have a bucket, maybe a scoop. You don't have to have a scoop, but it helps. If you have those, James says, if you learn one thing, absolutely. So again, back to what Chris said, a lot of people hate climbing ladders. Some people are scared shitless of climbing ladders. They're willing to pay you anything to get up and climb on ladders. I had a customer one time who called me and he's like, listen, I haven't cleaned my gutters in years because I can't go up on a ladder. I'm scared. He says there shouldn't be much up there, but I need somebody to do it for me. So I went up and it turned out that his gutters were pretty much clean, except on one section of the house, they were full of pebbles. And I don't mean like little tiny pebbles that would have rained down somewhere. I was trying to figure out how his gutter had got full of rocks. And I cleaned them all out and I asked him, he says, we've got birds over here that pick them up and drop them on my roof constantly. So we ended up filling about a half a 5-gallon bucket of rocks that came out of his gutters. It was one of the craziest things. But yeah, I mean, gutter cleaning, what I love about that is it's seasonal. So again, hey, you can be like, hey, honey, for the next 3 Saturdays or the next 2 Saturdays and Sundays, I'm going to book gutter cleaning. Man, there's days when I can knock out, I've probably done between 8 and 10 in a day at between $85 and $100 for a single story home that I can get done in less than an hour. So just do that math. If you only wanted to work those 4 days a year on your side hustle, that could be your $5,000 right there. But yes, absolutely. Number 2, now this is a different one. And some of you might be like, what the hell is that? But well cleaning. So hear me out. First off, on the East Coast where I grew up, dug wells were really common because the water table is really close to the surface. And a lot of the old wells were just hand dug. They work great, but of course, being so close to the surface, they get nasty. So you got to go down in there and try to pump them out. You have to use, sump pump, a couple of sump pumps, a shop vac, whatever it is. Get them as dry as you can so you can go down there, scrub the sides, bleach them out, and get all that nasty bacteria out of there. And it can be a very lucrative business because most of them are 4 feet wide, barely enough room to put a ladder and then crawl your butt down in there. So if it's something you're interested in doing, or say it's something that you've done, again, out of desperation, because I always say desperation is a great motivator, and abject poverty is too. But if you've learned how to do it yourself, all of a sudden you can start offering the service to your neighbors and be like, hey, when's the last time your well was cleaned? Whatever you want to charge for it, you figure that out. But kind of a sad story, but years ago when I was working at Home Hardware, we had this old guy who was in his 80s. He used to come in all the time. We hadn't seen him for a few months. And the story come out that he had decided to go down in the fall and clean as well and fell off his ladder. And, that was that, right? So this kind of service can literally either be a lifesaver or at least for someone who was used to being independent and can't do it anymore. Hey, Brian, how are you, man? Nice to see you. So this kind of service could be, something that seniors can take you up on, or just anybody, because who the hell wants to crawl down into a grimy, dingy, old, greasy well, but I don't mind it. If the price is right, do it, right? And then if you're used to shocking drilled wells, if you've ever done that, or look into it, because again, it's something a lot of people aren't comfortable with. But my brother-in-law, I talked him through over the phone, give him some advice, and he poured a bunch of bleach down his wells, and then just basically purged the lines afterwards, got them all cleaned out. And he had been struggling with nasty smelling, dirty water for, I don't know, the better part of a decade. And as soon as he shocked that well, boom, just like that. And again, that's just a simple, stupid little skill that he learned, that I learned, that you could turn around and offer and make money with. Again, I love it. How can you not, right? There's so many. I mean, like I said, eventually you get to the point where you got to just pick any idea and start making money. And then you're like, oh, I got another idea, and then stack them, right? So, okay, number 3, plumbing repair. And this is one of those things that, number one, it's going to save your own butt a few times because, again, you're going to have this material on hand. And then when people know that you're the Repairedness guy, of your friends and your neighbors, your family, they know, hey, this is the guy that has stuff. They're going to come and see you and be like, hey, Tim, I got a leak, whatever type of leak we're talking about. Could you come and fix it? Because it's Sunday and the hardware store is closed. And I know you've got a full selection of, plumbing parts out in your garage, that kind of stuff, Also, here's the other thing. When you help a customer out who's in the middle of anxiety, and I want to tell you, there's very few things that will create anxiety more than having a gushing pipe in your basement and not knowing who you can call or not being able to afford to call a lot of people. When you help someone out of an anxious situation like that, you've just made yourself a customer for life. So remember that, because when you can help someone out of a bad situation, they typically don't ever forget it. And plumbing is one of those areas that can, number one, pay you well, but number two, build a really good, very committed customer base. How about number 4, automotive skills? And this can go anywhere and everywhere. I mean, it could be as easy as topping up somebody's fluids or detailing somebody's car. I got asked to do that one time, but if you've got a shop vac and a pressure washer, you could do some, car washing for people, and that can be really lucrative. There's a guy in a local city. I believe there's one in Red Deer where my buddy lives, and he has a mobile oil change business. And I mean, the equipment he needs is so little. He goes to a customer's home, jacks up their vehicle, changes their oil right in their driveway. They don't have to bring it to him. They can stay at home. It's really good for like stay-at-home moms who have kids that can't get out or don't want to do anything. He goes, he changes their oil, charges them the money. He does tire rotations, that kind of stuff. I love it. Now, you might say, well, Tim, I'm not into automotive skills, and that's okay too. But there's so many little things that you could do. Changing wiper blades, all of that kind of stuff. Oh, James says, now you're talking my language, Tim. I restore cars for a living. See, again, that's why I make these lists and I try to throw some crazy things on there, because all of a sudden it's going to make some mental synapse connection for one of you. And you're going to be like, I can do this and I can make money with it, because there's nothing wrong with that. Mobile repair, easy, 3-time normal shop rate. Absolutely. Yes, exactly. So we're getting into this. I'm going to digress a little bit, but it's a value added service. You're going to their home, so they'll pay you more. There's a mobile butcher around here who does incredible things. Hey, Hawkins, I see him over on Float. He says, yes, that's awesome. I didn't catch, was that? Oh yeah, just now. Oh, hey man. So yeah, anyway, there's a mobile butcher who makes all of his money in hunting season. So for the 2 or 3 months that people are getting deer and elk and moose and they can't do this kind of stuff, all of a sudden he pulls up. He's got a mobile butcher chop shop right in the back. Like it's an inspected one. There's another guy who just comes in and does all the work in your kitchen, saves him a ton of, anyway, just so many things. Chris says, I change bulbs on so many vehicles. I leave a card with my number when I see someone with a light out. It works pretty well. Not many people want to mess with it. You see, now that, my friends, is hustle right there. He sees a car with a light out and he puts his damn business card there and tells people, hey, I can do this. And you are absolutely right, Chris. That is awesome. I love it. And James says, landlord on the side, dadding full time. Absolutely. Property management, we're going to talk about that, but landlording, that is awesome. And yeah, Chris, that is friggin', that's inspirational, my friend. I love it. How about construction? Our buddy Ken Ash, he does that all the time. Carrie Brown is too, and they're probably much better construction guys than I am. But I mean, you could build fences, you can build chicken coops, you can build decks, stairs, whatever you're comfortable doing. Number one, you get paid for it. Number two, if you bid by the job, whatever materials are left at the end, those are yours as well. So because the customer has an expectation of paying a certain price, you use that money to buy the materials, whatever's left over. I put that away in my storage container or up overhead in my garage, and I use them for what I call zero jobs. That's when either I have a small job to do for a customer or a small job to do for my wife, and I'm able to dip into my personal reserves and do that project without spending any money because I have all those leftover products. I love it. Man, you guys, see, I love our community. This workshop's great. James says, Chris, I've done that with body damage. Great idea. You see, you guys, like now we're talking. I love that. Outside the box thinking. That's great. Number 6, how about garbage hauling? And you guys have heard me beat this dead horse. I've said before, when you keep beating a dead horse, all you get is a bigger mess. But in this case, it's a lucrative dead horse. I hope nobody's listening to me, but and Hawkins says, I wish there was one that could change my oil while I'm at work. There's another niche you could start right there, because I'm pretty sure Hawkins works at a really big employer, and you could probably keep busy just changing people's oils while you're at work. That would be friggin' awesome. So garbage hauling, this is my favorite, probably my most lucrative. It's something that can spin off into a bunch of different things. You can make money hauling garbage. You can make money selling the garbage that people give you. Scrap metals, reselling valuable items, saving building supplies, building materials. There's rarely a time that I go in and clean up a property or haul stuff to the dump that I don't find something of value. And you have to be a little more careful because, again, I can end up getting way too much stuff. But it is just awesome. If you've got a truck or a trailer or a truck and trailer, you can haul garbage and you can make money. Just get over the fact that it's garbage and get it done. I love it. And it pays quite well. This will be one that's after Hawkins' own heart, but solar, he's the one that inspired me to start into that. But again, say you want to take the time and get interested in off-grid power sources, right? Just something simple, a small little hobby type idea. Well, you've spent some money on building your own solar system. You've spent the time building the skills and the knowledge. Why don't you turn around and help people build small-scale solar systems? Maybe you could make a niche in setting up people's RVs with, and we're going to talk about RVs in a little bit, but going around and putting a couple of small panels and a small battery bank, a small inverter, setting it all up, making sure it's weatherproof on an RV, and getting people some backup power. Help them take the mystery out of it. Maybe all they need is someone to answer their questions, and you could offer a consulting service. The sky, again, is the absolute limit. How about, here's another good one, RV maintenance. Now, I mean, that can be really specialized, and you can run an entire business at it. But again, people think that RV parts come from some magical supplier somewhere that they don't know where to get them. Truth be told, a significant portion of RV parts are universal, easily attainable on things like Amazon, eBay, that kind of stuff. So say it's like, what do they call that? The city water hookup, or the exhaust vent for where the stove vent comes out, just whatever it is. On the roof, one of the flanges, that kind of stuff. Any of that's easy to find on Amazon, easy to pick up the parts. How about this? In my area especially, winterizing RVs is a life or death kind of situation. If you don't do it, you're going to wreck your RV. Things are going to freeze and burst. If you've taught yourself how to do it, like I have, then all of a sudden, in an hour, in 3 or 4 gallons of antifreeze, you can winterize somebody's RV and make yourself a couple $100. And you can go again to their house or to where they store it so that they don't have to take it to the RV dealer and do it. And you know what? Then all of a sudden, it's not just worth to them the cost of taking it to the dealer, it's also worth to them the time and money that it takes going there. So say it takes them an hour each way to get there. That's the fuel, the meal, the time. That's an added value service for you. Now, how about cleaning? Now, not everybody loves to clean. It's certainly not my favorite job. But when I first started my business, it was a huge moneymaker for me and my wife. we ended up getting the contract to do these. They're like tractor trailer trailers that are oil field offices that get delivered. They get skidded on, skidded off, and they'd come back really messy. And we'd get a flat rate for cleaning each one. And we did it, and we got paid quite well when we first started, but we really didn't like it. So if you like it, go for it. If you don't, that's okay too. But it can be a real quick way to pick up a little bit of extra money. I had a guy that I worked with at Home Hardware years ago. He worked all day, every day at Home Hardware, and then he had the contract to do the cleaning there later on. My wife and I got inspired, and we're like, you know what? Let's put in a contract bid to do the local fire hall, and we did it. And then the fire chief's nephew got the contract. So that kind of shit happens, but don't let it get you down, because it got us down, and we didn't try again for years. Stupid, right? I know you wouldn't think that now, but yeah. So keep trying, keep putting things in there. How about tree removal? Now, this is another one. You got to be careful with it because there's quite a bit of liability involved. So only do what you're comfortable. But, it could be as simple as you put an ad on Craigslist. Hey, do you have property that needs trees removed? Whether they're a menace, is that right? Not a menace, but, a danger or, a safety hazard. Or say they need the trees cut out because they want to build on the property. You'll say, hey, I'll come and cut it, bring it home, and you get yourself some firewood. Then you either have firewood for the winter, or you can turn around and sell it to someone else. Years ago, when I was working again at the hardware store, we had this small little lot that the boss bought. We had to clean the trees off it. And there was a great big, probably 40, 50 foot high pine tree, probably 12 inches in diameter, laying right up against the high powered power lines, the transmission lines there. And Dad and I had to cut it down, and we had a lot of experience doing it, but we still tied it off to a tree, and we pulled it over and down, and it was great. Unlike my cousin, years prior, we had a massive power outage in our area. He was way back in the woods cutting trees, and he dropped one down over the main transmission lines. I don't even want to know what kind of fine he got, but so only do what you're comfortable doing, because if you exceed your skill level, it can end up costing you way more than you ever could have made. How about dryer vent cleaning? You can pick up one of those kits for less than $50 on Amazon. Buy one, use it once at home, go and do a customer's job once, and you've paid for the gear. That's it. And you've got a built-in repeatable service and clientele. That's what I love about that, because a lot of people are going to be like, hey, can you come back every 6 months and clean out my dryer vent? Or every year. It gives customers peace of mind. You pay for the tools, you learn a little skill, and you make a little beer money. How about chimney cleaning? Now, that's something not everybody's comfortable with. Some chimneys can be done from the basement, but a lot have to be done from the roof. And again, elderly, infirmed, single moms, there's a whole bunch of clientele out there that have no interest in climbing up on their roofs and cleaning their chimney. If you've already bought the poles, worst case scenario, you're going to have to buy a special brush. 3 or 4 different sizes are going to cover almost all the chimney sizes out there. Get your ass up the roof, clean it, do it from the basement, whatever it is. Take the work out of it. Wear a mask so you don't end up with the black boogers like my dad always used to get when he did it. But honestly, there's not a lot of work in cleaning a chimney. It's just difficult for people who aren't comfortable doing it. Chimney cleaning gear and a ladder and some way to tie yourself off. And man, you can be a regular old chimney sweep and make yourself some really good money. How about this one? Chicken Hawk's over on YouTube now. And a whole bunch of emojis just came up. I see beer and money and a black heart. How about number 13? Electrical panel labeling. You guys know that this is one of my stupid little quirks or passions. I did it recently, and I think it's pretty important. I put it off for a while. But this could be a niche service you offer, especially if you live in an area with a lot of old properties. Those tend to be the ones that don't have well-labeled or mislabeled electrical panels. Say it's a job you want to do at your own home, and you want to buy some tools, but it's hard to justify. You're like, oh, okay, I'm probably going to need about $100 for an electrical tester, a circuit tracer, and a couple other things. Well, you know what? Do it for yourself, do it for a customer, and you've paid for those tools. Now you have them. Now you can go out and maybe offer it, maybe advertise, because the more you do it, the faster you get. Maybe you could offer it as part of a safety audit where you go in and you check people's fire extinguishers. You change out the batteries in their smoke detectors, change out the batteries in their CO detectors, that kind of stuff, Maybe go over a fire safety, fire evacuation plan with the family, whatever it happens to be. But there's so many opportunities in all of these preparedness skills to make your ass money. How about gravel and dirt work? Number 14. Back when I was first getting started, I had a lady call me and she's like, hey, I had a dump truck load of dirt dropped in my backyard and it's too small or it's jammed in and I cannot get a bobcat back here. Are you interested? And I thought, yeah, sure. I think I charged her $200, and me and my worker went in just over an hour with 2 wheelbarrows and 2 shovels. We spread the entire thing out and she was happy and nothing got dug up. She didn't have to bring any machinery in there. She liked it so much that she called us back 2 weeks later and said, hey, I'm getting another load. You want to come back and do it? And all it was sweat equity, man. We were literally just out there digging and enjoying life. It ended up snowing. It was like a late spring day, but it was beautiful. I loved it. There's something mentally satisfying about working your ass off. It helps clear your mind. It helps knock all the bad thoughts out. It gives you nothing to think about except that next shovelful of dirt. And I love it. I do 2 or 3 jobs like that every summer, and they make me money and they keep me going. Here's another one we've talked about before, appliance repair. Again, people think, oh my God, I got to call the Maytag repairman and he's going to cost me $12,000 because all the parts come from a very specific. Anyway, again, if you can find a manual, if you can find a part number, if you search that part number into Google, you can repair almost all appliances. It doesn't mean you got to get into real specialty scary things, but you can change the drive belt on a dryer. You can change the elements in the oven. Something that intimidates people quite often is stovetop burners on the flat burners. They think those are impossible to replace. You know what? Surprise. They're really easy to replace. They're just a little more money. So if you're interested, get into doing that kind of stuff. I had one customer one time and they're like, hey, the storage drawer on the bottom of the stove, it's off the track and I can't fix it. It won't go back in. Well, the bracket had broken. So I, again, model number, found the part. A month later, when the part showed up, I fixed it for the customer and they were happy as a pig in shit. It was great. Chris Dixon says, emptying and refilling flower beds makes my boys some decent summer spending money. Now that is some motivation right there. I love hearing that. That's a great idea. Okay, how about this one? Number 16, small engine maintenance. Now we talked about this last week, guys. How about you offer a winter and summer rise and shine service where you put the gear to bed for them in the wintertime and you wake it up for them in the springtime? Or how about a midsummer tune-up where you go in and you change out the spark plug, give it an oil change, clean out the air filter, give it a seafoam treatment. Just keep their small engine stuff running tickety-boo. If you're better than that or better at that kind of stuff, again, a manual and Google to find parts, and you can do a multitude of repairs, whatever you're comfortable doing, right? It's simple. And again, another value-added service, go to the customer's house or their property and do the maintenance for them there. You can always charge just a little bit more because of the convenience, right? How about another one? Implement sharpening. I was going to say knife sharpening, but there's so many things that you can sharpen for people. Garden shears, kitchen knives, hedge trimmers, chainsaws, all kinds of stuff like that. Ted's got a good one right here, a real shitty idea. Some of the youngsters around me are making a killing cleaning up dog poop. Guess what? In the early spring when the snow melts here, I make a shit ton of money with it. I love it. I put in headphones, put in my ear pods, put gloves on, listen to a podcast, and for $100 in an hour, the yard's cleaned up. Love it. Nothing wrong with that. I even offer to haul it away because I either put it in one of my dumpsters or I take it right to the dump. And then they don't even have to worry about it. So that's a skill. Sharpening things is a skill that people have lost or have never bothered to master. But if you have, man, again, people will bring you knives. They'll bring you all kinds of stuff. Ted says a nose plug. It's still pretty frozen. It's not too bad. Although some days it can be kind of bad. Like I said, put an ad out on Nextdoor and start finding yourself a customer base. Get your ass out there and start sharpening things for people. Make yourself some pocket money. I love the idea. Here's another one. How about installing security systems? And I'm not talking like, for one of the big security systems companies, that kind of stuff. But mine, I've used for 2 years. It runs in here onto a PVR. I've got it set up and I bought it on Amazon. No monitoring required. I just do the monitoring myself. Once you've set one system up, they're all basically the same. You run the wires, get it set up. If people want wireless, you go wireless. Then you install the app on their phone, teach them how they can monitor their home even when they're away. How about this? How about for farmers and ranchers that need to check on their cattle all the time? You can set up a small security system so that they can check out their cattle from their phone in their bed and not have to go outside when it's minus 20 or minus 30. Sunny Lane Camper says, sounds like you need a cocktail, brother. I need more than that. We've been fighting with this friggin' cold that gone through the whole daycare, me and the missus, the whole lot of us. So yeah, I've been fighting it, but I'm a trooper. I wasn't canceling for you tonight. I like the sound of my own voice too much. No, I'm just kidding tonight. It ain't good. How about scrap metal collecting? That is a big one. I had a neighbor down Digby Neck when I used to live out east that his literal backyard, so you kind of went in his yard and then up over. He had a literal scrap yard in there. He would go around during bulk pickup day and he would pick up all the appliances. If somebody had an old hot water tank, he'd go and get that. He'd separate it, and every year he'd use that money for his family's vacation. Now, I'm not saying you need to set up an entire scrapyard in your backyard, but copper. So if somebody says, hey, can you haul out all this copper pipe? Yeah, I can. Old car batteries, man, they're worth a mint. Aluminum's pretty darn good. Things like that. There's so much stuff. How about make connections with the local plumbers? Because a lot of times, either they're unwilling or unable to haul, say, old boilers out of homes or old hot water tanks. And you can say, listen, give me a call. I'll come haul it away, and I get paid for the scrap. Love that idea. There's so many things you can do, right? How about number 20? And this has become probably my favorite or my best, steadiest income for year-round money, and that is property management. So if we sit down and we take all of the skills that we have learned in Repairedness, all the different things that we can fix in our home, and you want to turn around and apply all of those in one area, that area is property management or property ownership if you want to get right down to it. But hey, Joseph, how are you, my friend? But it's the ultimate handyman Repairedness flex, guys. Taking all those skills you've learned and turn that into part-time, full-time, steady income, whatever it is, where someone else pays you to take care of all the Repairedness needs for them. So for me, I charge a flat rate per rental unit, and I take care of the small stuff. If it's something big, I then subcontract it out, contact the people, get it dealt with. We get the properties rented, give them a quick cleanup. And if there's anything above and beyond that, we charge again for it. But there's so many things, so much money to be made there, guys. That's just 20. And I guarantee you that there's, like I said, 20 more. You guys I've talked about this before, but you sit around and play that game where your friends and family are like, all right, who's going to be on my post-apocalyptic team? Yeah, Joseph does a ton of property management. We got to get him back on some night, and we'll talk about the handyman trade and everything like that. But yes, there is money to be made there. So you guys ever do this where you sit around and you have a chat and you're like, oh yeah, okay. In a grid down, worst case scenario, that guy's going to be the medic. That guy's going to be the hunter. That one's going to cook. That one's going to be in charge of hygiene. Well, nobody ever thinks about the handyman. And life's still got to go on. And these type of skills are going to be, you are going to be able to, in a worst case scenario, live the high life in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. I'm kind of being funny here, but it's the type of thing, if you're the type of guy that can take an old alternator and build a wind turbine out of it. Or you can take an old car tire and fashion hinges out of make hinges for a farm gate. That kind of shit's going to be invaluable, guys. It's going to be the type of thing that you can turn into just whatever needs to be done. You're going to be the guy that everybody calls and says, "Oh, you know what? I got an old wagon that I want to turn into, a wheat hauler so that I can take it to the market." I bet Tim can do that. Or, I bet Joseph can do that. All of that. But yes. So I love that idea. You guys have brought up a ton of ideas tonight. If you've got any other ones, throw them in the comments. I love hearing about them. But there's just so much that we can take when you look at, like I said, we're, 11 episodes into the Repairedness series for sure. And everything is on a scale. So you're learning a little bit at a time. You're going to, when you first start out with plumbing, maybe you're comfortable with just changing out a water supply line. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm going to tackle replacing the whole goddamn toilet. And then I'm going to tackle replacing a hot water tank. And all of a sudden, a year, 2, 3 down the road, you've saved yourself a whole bunch of money doing all this stuff. And then you're like, you know what? I've built my confidence. I know how to do this stuff. And now I'm going to start offering it to other people. And I'm going to turn around and I'm going to make some money. And then I'm going to take that money that I make from that skill and I'm going to invest it in an income property. I'm going to buy a trailer or a home or something that I can rent out. And now all of a sudden, that little tiny independence that I started as a little seed, just changing out a water supply line on a toilet, you turn around and you've turned that into an income property. And you might say, Tim, whoa, that is way too far-fetched. But it's not. Because like I said, $100 a week is $5,000 in a year. Say you double that to $10,000 in a year, you've got yourself a pretty damn good down payment for a rental property. And then you go and buy that rental property and you make sure that the rent's enough that it pays your mortgage, your bills, and a little bit of income. And say you take out a short-term mortgage and in 10 years, that property's bought out and paid for, and maybe it's a $100,000 property. All of a sudden, you're now getting every bit of that income is now in your pocket. So I'm just trying to get you to look how starting out just with one little tiny plumbing skill can turn into, the butterfly effect of a huge, incredible windfall down the road. And then once you get that one property, you're going to be like, shit, this is addictive. I got to make myself some more. And then you build yourself into a situation where you're like, man, this is really working. And then eventually you're like, okay, I've got 15 good ideas. The best part about that is they're all good ideas, but I'm just going to pick one, I'm going to work it, and I'm going to try to make some money. So what does Joseph have to say here? Working into buying rentals is such a fantastic thing, Joseph says. I bought beaters for cash to get started, fixed them up on all my days I didn't have work scheduled for outside clients, kept me busy nonstop. My wife and I are in the process of picking up our first 3 rental units, and every bit of the money has come from my handyman business, which we took and we turned into my wife's daycare business, which is now bringing in enough money that we can turn around and start investing in rental properties. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm telling you what can be done, because we were dead ass friggin' broke for years because we made bad decisions and dug ourselves into holes and eventually realized, holy shit, I can change something. And we did. And James says, rentals are my best income. Absolutely. There's just something about having that residual money coming in all the time. It's like having a job that you don't have to go to work to, right? I mean, yes, there's work involved. Yes, there's times when you get a phone call that says the power is going to be shut off in 24 hours if you don't do something about your tenant, that kind of stuff. But there's money to be made there. Joseph says, now it's just so nice. They deposit right in my bank account every month. I have 3 more that are sitting locked up, ready for me to fix already also. Cash purchases also. Keeps helpers busy too. Ain't that the truth? I love it. I'm telling you. And this is just one this is just one plan where you took a plumbing skill, you turned it into cash, you took that cash and you turned it into one property. Now, just think, whatever your situation is, what skill do you know how to do? Can you turn that around and put that into something else? And I'm not even talking handyman. You could be somebody who, I don't know, um, makes purses or does embroidery, whatever it happens to be. But just remember that tiny little seed can turn into something huge and make your life that much better. Cabot says bad decisions make good character sometimes. Yes, as long as you learn from those bad decisions. Because what do they say? The definition of insanity is, continuing to do the same thing and hoping for different results. And that's what we had to do. We had to change our life. We had to change what we were doing. And you know what? It's never too late. I mean, we're only 40, in our early 40s now, so you can get out there and do it. This is good, guys. James says I call it my money printer. Sure, you have to change the ink or load paper now and then, but it literally prints cash, equity, and tax deductions. That's something else that I never even, delved into tonight, but the tax benefits of doing this kind of stuff. And you're literally building, like he said, equity. It's like putting money in the bank. And the thing about real estate is, I'm not going to, rarely does it go down in value. On the occasion it does, but for the most part, it tends to be a steady climb. Just ignore the last 2 years. But you're building, you're investing, it's building wealth. But the cool thing is, once it's paid off, it doesn't just sit there as an investment that is worth something. It's also worth income coming back to you. Anyway, that's probably enough for me tonight because, well, my voice is getting to the point where there ain't much left here. Oh, I got to stop it. I don't know what's going on with it, but it just keeps coming back in this stupid cold. But all right, guys, you guys brought your A game tonight with all the different information you brought up. I'm going to have to go back, take some screenshots and share some of these tips on social because it was top notch, guys. So thank you. If you want to know more about what I'm doing, check me out this Sunday evening. I've got John Dowie of Dowie Farms coming on talking about setting up a successful microgreens business. He's been doing it. He did it right through the whole pandemic, delivering to a whole bunch of different chefs. And anyway, I don't even exactly know what a microgreens business is, but it's going to be awesome. I'm excited. He also has a really cool side hustle where he sells barrels. It's really neat. So anyway, Sunday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Also, next Thursday evening here on PBN, on Float, on Odyssey, on YouTube, the next installment of Repairedness. And finally, like I said, Prepper Broadcast Network. If you're not following it, you absolutely should. We're doing incredible things there. James is awesome, and there's such good content. I rarely miss an episode of anything. But if you want to keep hearing top quality preparedness related content, tune in tomorrow for Carl A.D. Brown's. He has a really, really good show. It's called The Strange Truth. Tripping over my words here. Sorry, Carl. But it's always a lively discussion centered around Christianity, preparedness, and the news stories nobody dares touch. Anyway, guys, I say it every week, but an hour and a half, and you guys are willing to spend that time with me in the workshop. I am eternally grateful, and I love this. This is the highlight. Some of the highlights of my week is coming in here, hanging out with you guys and chatting. So, guys, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.